Curling now enters the Sports Weekend spotlight.
What a day! Hello,
What a day.
curling fans. Call, how are you?
I'm good. I'm just checking. What time was your first text to me this morning on this epic day of curling?
Yeah, I think we're approaching hour 10 on this Curling Super Sunday. Hello, curling fans. Call, I always love seeing where curling fans are tuning in from on the roll call. And of course, so much has already happened. We have one last Scotties spot to be determined, and that's in Alberta right now.
So much drama. There's been some great curling all day. And this Alberta showdown is not disappointing at all as we tap into Sturmey and Skurlik all tied at 3. And eighth end, these final 3 ends are my favorite. You know, I could maybe snooze a little bit at the first 2 ends. Like, please don't let anything happen. There's been some spectacular shot making all day long. I mean,
yeah,
so good.
And what a day it's been. So there you see it. Skurlik and Sturmey tied 3-3 in the 8th end.
Ooh.
Huge ramifications for those last 2 CTRS spots. Of course, we know win or lose, Sturmey is in by virtue of her points call. But if you're sort of Kate Cameron or Corinne Brown, you're watching this very closely right now. Because that's going to determine your fate to see whether or not you get into the Scotties.
Yeah, you would really want Sturmey to win. And of course, Skurlik, we saw her make her debut at the Scotties last year, and she was quite spectacular. And she's sort of, watching her this week, been a little up and down by times. But who isn't? It's a long week, and it only matters how you play in the last game.
No
You
kidding.
gotta get that, though.
Let's go to the board right now, and then we're going to go to Rachel Homan, who is here tonight. I think her cell phone is dry by now, so we'll go to Rachel in a second.
That's a whole other story.
That's a whole other story. Call yesterday, 9 spots on the bingo card were empty. Now we're getting to the end of the Scotties field. Take a look at that. In BC, Clancy Grandy winning today. Laurie St. George in Quebec. Stacey Curtis in Newfoundland and Labrador. Call in PEI, Jane DeCarlo into her first Scotties.
Very nice. And Suzanne Burt, of course, has been a long time representative year after year after year, and she stepped back from the game. I love the look of this field. Can't wait to hear what Rachel says about it. But to have, you know, Caitlin would have been there one way or the other, but what a game against Beth Peterson. I first saw Beth earlier this year at the Canadian Mixed, and she was just such a wonderful player, and she played great today. But Caitlin and her team, you know, I haven't seen all of their games this year because they're not always televised, but boy, did they put it all together today. They were spectacular.
Well,
so many big shots.
Yeah, Caitlin made a somewhat of an Al Hackner double to score 2, and I thought that was a turning point in the game. Of course, I skipped over Northern Ontario and a huge win for Krista McCarville, who's going back to the Scotties, her 11th appearance at the Scotties, and call, maybe with the addition of Andrea Kelly, this is a push over the top this team needs. Perhaps.
Well, you know, we talked to her and she wanted to build a team that could win. And she's been knocking on the door. How many times was she runner up? Andrea, of course, from New Brunswick and was the representative of the Scotties last year, former Canadian junior champ as well, is such a strong player. She really can change an end around with the easy, massive weight she throws so well. So she is just so solid. She plays the soft stuff well too. But I think it's made, just watching Krista today, it just looked like a different field, different vibe. And they were, Krista doesn't miss much herself. So she's always spectacular. But boy, they were good today.
You know who hasn't missed a lot this year at all? In 43 games, Team Homan is 38-5. And let's bring in skipper Rachel Homan, who is in a granite world of her own this year. Rachel, wonderful to see you.
I made it.
Yeah, we should explain that we were expecting you last night, but apparently your phone had an accident with a tub. Did I get that wrong?
No, you got that right. Yeah. I was talking with Devin and doing a million things, and he's like, does 7 work? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'll make 7 work. So I didn't tell him that also Bowen had dropped my phone in the bathtub. So it's been in a bag of rice all weekend. So at 5 o'clock, Devin's like, "Where are you?" But I have no
Well,
way
you're
of
here now.
receiving those messages. Yeah. So the only way I can text is through my laptop right now. So if I leave the house, there's just no way of communicating with me.
Well, Devin recently lost 2 phones on the same day, and they were stolen.
I
So
heard.
he's
A
totally
little
understand.
scary.
What's this like for you sitting back watching it all, or are you watching it all?
Yeah, I have it on my computer right beside the curling show.
Can we all watch Alberta right now? And Rachel, you can continue, but here's this game going on.
Yeah, no, I have it up split screen with you guys right now. There's been so much curling. It's hard to keep track, and then what's meaningful and trying to figure out the scenarios and that. Yeah, definitely a crazy game in Manitoba today with Laws knowing that she had already qualified months ago, basically. And then being in the final and Peterson kind of losing on the last rock. It was probably pretty devastating for them. They've been to the Scotties before and they're a great team. So sorry to see that they won't be at the Scotties this year, but obviously Caitlin is so strong. It would have been really tough to beat them.
Yeah, and it's sort of, if you know that you already have your spot, I don't know, that you play with a little bit of ease as much as you want to win another Manitoba title. Has there been anything that surprised you so far when you're watching the playdowns?
Definitely the LSD elimination in Alberta. That was a tough one with I think Kaufman eliminating her sister by winning her last round robin game. That's not something that you ever hope for. But I think everything. It's hard to remember everything.
I know.
In the last couple of days, but I think everything kind of went as we would have expected. Yeah, we've played Sturmey a couple times this year, and they looked really strong. I predicted them to be in the final or win it before this started, so I'm not surprised by that. And there's quite a few good teams in Alberta, so between Skrlik and Grey Withers looked really good early.
As we watch, I believe this is Skrlik drawing for, is it for
2
here? I don't think they're going to measure that, although you never know. Rachel, the rule was made about a year ago by Curling Canada to do these pre-qualifications, all in the attempt to give Canadian curlers a chance to sort of prepare better for international events, to block out the calendar a little bit more. Has that worked?
Yeah. I mean, obviously with 2 new babies on our team, international travel wasn't at the top of our list. All of us have some good international experience, thankfully. And it was nice to know that we were qualified early. Obviously recovering from pregnancy and delivery is taxing enough on the body. So having to go through, I think last year, some teams played like 13 games, 10 end games in our provincial.
Wow.
Between tiebreakers and round robin play. And I think we had 1 or 2 losses and we almost got eliminated and didn't make playoffs. It's always a tough go on provincials and when you play that many games. So it's nice that we're able to train together as a team and do the work that we need to do, but not have to break down our bodies with those 10 end games, 2 game days. They're definitely taxing when you're already trying to recover off of pregnancy. So for us this year, it was really big that we could recover, be in the gym, work on injury prevention, getting stronger and making sure that we're in as good of shape as we can be for the Scotties coming up here.
Yeah, we spoke with Danielle Inglis, of course, who won Ontario. She, of course, loves this a lot because you're just so tough. You know, how does a team like Danielle even get to the Scotties to kind of gain more experience if you are always there to win it because you guys are so good? Tell me about this incredible season you've had, though. I mean, it's like a wow. Yeah. What do you credit it to? Is it just being back on the tee line and calling the game, and you just are seeing everything so well?
Yeah, I think last year was the first year together, and I think there's always things that you need to learn from each other. You're growing together, figuring out communication, hearing different voices out there. knowing what each other means and really getting in sync with each other's game plan and the way we communicate. So that took a little bit of time and figuring out our roles. We tried out me throwing last and sweeping, and we had some success. And then at the end of the season with pregnancy, I had to go back in the house. And so we've been able to try out a couple different scenarios, and we feel like we're in the positions that we need to be to play our best and give our best chance to this team to be successful and hopefully get to the final at Scotties.
No kidding. And Rachel, you're 38-5 this year, back-to-back slam wins. Some of the numbers that stick out to me: hammer efficiency at 55%, points for over those games at 9, points against at 5. That's a winning recipe right there. So you say get to that Scotties final. Do you feel like this is it? This is your year to get this win because of the way you're playing going into the Scotties?
Yeah, I think we've put in a ton of work. I mean, everybody's put in a ton of work, but we just feel like we're at the top of our game right now. And I feel like we're in a position that we could win and we could get a gold for Canada. Like that's kind of the feeling that we have going in, and that's all the teams preparing for the Scotties. That's the ultimate goal, right? We want to try and get that gold back to Canada. And there's a lot of teams that can do that. And I really feel confident in that we can put our best effort forward and we can take on the worlds with this lineup. And I hope we get the opportunity to do that. And it's sports, so anything can happen. And but we know that we won't leave any stone unturned and make sure that we're where we want to be. And hopefully at the end, it's enough points on the board.
How does having 3 kids now, does it change your perspective? So when you come back from a tough loss, not that you've lost much this year, does it sort of like you don't have time to mourn it? You just have to accept the loss and move on to being a mom, sort of. Is there a change in perspective with now busy 3?
Yeah, I think you're always wanting to win, and you always have kind of that 24 hours after a big loss where it's not fun. And, you want to win every game that you're in. Yeah, I think going from 2 to 3 isn't too much different. It's just the same chaos all the time. And as they're slowly getting older, there's more activities and more things to add into the schedule. But that's we've got a lot of support to be able to do fun things while I'm home and be able to take them to their activities. And then when I'm on the road, have the support at home to be able to kind of shut that off and turn into game mode and try and make sure that we're doing everything we can to win.
Nice. Well, you're balancing it greatly, except for the cell phone, but we'll let that slide. Rachel, so wonderful to see you, and thank you for making.
So bad. I had both of them in the tub, and then I took Briggs out to change them, and when I came back, Bowen was just like dunking my phone in the bathroom.
I feel like this is
It was over.
Listen, a lot of people will never be able to curl like you, but there is relatable content with cell phones going in.
Right.
So thank you for that human moment, Rachel. And wonderful to see you. Good luck.
Yeah. And congrats on an amazing season so far.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on the show.
Awesome. Thanks, Rachel. Listen, Call, I hear we have a bit of a party car headed back to Thunder Bay because Krista McCarville and the team are on the road and they're
nice. Hello. Congratulations. She's frozen.
That's a fantastic frozen.
I do like the picture.
I'm trying to keep it together. If there's ever a freeze frame to sum up how
it's great. We're having fun. I love that. I wonder whereabouts in Northern Ontario cell phone service, probably like here in Nova Scotia, here and there. But they just look so composed today, beating Krista Burns.
Yep.
I'm having a hard time. Like Rachel said, it's hard to keep all the games together.
There they are. There's
with the addition of Andrea to this team.
Yeah.
This team has just been knocking on the door, and they were so darn good today. that you can't help but think they're once again very much in the mix. And I know you've always thought it'll be, that she'll definitely be in the mix. But I kind of think there's a solid 5 teams that are in the mix.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's parity across the board. I think Homan is certainly the cream of the crop right now.
Yeah.
I'm getting notes that Krista and the team are trying to log back in. So who knows? We knew it was going to be a little patchy, but they're trying.
Yeah.
We should go to this game here. Skurlik 5-3 leading Sturmey in the 9th of the Alberta final. This is the last piece of the puzzle in the Scotties picture call. While we watch this, I do just want to point out that it was quite the day in Northern Ontario as Rick Lang coaches Team McCarville to the victory, and Al Hackner, the Iceman, is Team Bono over Horgan to the victory there. And of course, the husbands of 2 of the players, including McCarville.
Mike McCarville's on it.
Yeah, Jordan Potts and Mike McCarville.
Yeah.
Well, so it's quite the party up there for all of them tonight.
I'm sure that will be a great party, and it's wonderful that the husbands won too. I'm happy for Trevor too. He was at the Canadian Mix. I feel like everybody was at the Canadian Mix this year, because it would have taken a little hurt if they had won. We were in sort of the same situation with when our team won, Team Smith won to go to the Scotties, and then I had to wait and watch to see if Luke would go to the Brier. It would not have been the same day if he had lost, and I know that they would feel the same way about their husbands.
We just,
although now they've got a babysitting crisis, all of them.
No kidding. We just got asked on the show here, who do we think will be the final 2 in the Scotties? We're careful.
Yeah.
We're careful.
Well, let's try to answer that. I mean, there's no question the season. I mean, I've been ranting to you about how great Homan's been this year, and she's got that killer look, that real determined. Everything about it looks strong. I'll say it.
I think it's going to be Homan and McCarville in the final. You
have said that. I loved what I saw from Caitlin Laws today. I loved it. And
you make a prediction and then you go, oh, right. Caitlin Laws and Kerry Anderson, and on and on and on.
And Kerry, I think Kerry. And honestly, I would not rule out all of the teams. You could tell me Team Smith from Nova Scotia. If people can get out of their own heads and out of their own way, the game is simple. You've watched curling all day. Did you see one person throw an ugly rock? No. They all throw the rock well. So what gets in the way is fear or doubt. Those are nasty things that you've kind of got to banish from your head. I mean, obviously tactics would be another thing. You might get and I did see that watching the Scotties this week, where we went, ooh, shouldn't you scoreboard manage? Don't you want Hammer coming home? That sort of thing. But anyhow.
So we're waiting to try and connect with the McCarville crew in the car. They're on the road back home to Thunder Bay. We should also point out some of the men's finals today. Of course, Simmons over Greg Smith in Newfoundland and Labrador. So that's a bit of an upset and a first for Simmons there. And how wonderful was that Ontario final between Jaden King. What a story, what a team they are. Watch out for them in years.
So young.
And of course, Scott Howard, the 3-person team. Scott delivers a winning stone with Glenn watching. So that's incredible.
It would not have been fair to the Howard family after watching
Carly
lose yesterday. Was it just yesterday? That would not have been fair. That would not have been a fun dinner table to be around.
So it'll be the Howard 3 or the Howard 4. We don't know at the Brier. This might give Glenn a bit of time to recover. So stay tuned on that. We'll track that. But we do have some celebration videos because there were nice moments on the ice today. So let's show some of that video, of course. In BC, well, first of all, let's look at the Peterson Last Rock in Manitoba. She played so well today, Paul.
She really did. And I mean, up against Caitlin Laws, who knew she had a spot regardless of the outcome, you would tend to play a little freer without the pressure of knowing you've got to win. So, and Caitlin's team played extremely well. Peterson, though, is just an amazing player, and they played, just watching their games through the week, they played so well. So
an amazing player and an amazing team that's not going to be at the Scotties. They so badly had to win today to get that ticket, as they weren't going to get the CTRS points. But there you see the celebration for Laws. It'll be her 10th Scotties appearance, if you can believe it. So many of those with Jennifer Jones, and now she's leading and carving her own path.
yeah, she is carving her own path, and I think it took her a while to get used to being the skip, even though she skipped in juniors, and she's an amazing player. Anytime you make that kind of transition, it takes a while to get used to. Now there's no room for error on skips rocks as a rule. You either make them or you miss them.
Sure.
So
and
it's a different pressure.
I think I heard Caitlin's mom, Cheryl, whistling in the background. You usually pick that up. She would be so proud today, of course. And then in the shot of course, Clancy Grandy, this game was lead over before it started because of this shot right here, Call.
Well, and it was one of those ends that kind of started innocently. You never would have thought a 5 would materialize in the way it was. The front ends played a fine end. Then they got a pick when they did a chase around a corner guard. Next thing you know, it's a hit for 5. If you look back at that, I don't know that she should have played the chase when she played it. And I don't know that she should have played the final guard. She would have only been down 4-1 if she had allowed a 4. But she elected to try a freeze, which was a tough one.
And then
it was hard to bounce back. Always hard to bounce back.
And then you see the score there, 11-2. Corinne Brown with this hit and stick, I believe it is, right there for 1, and that was handshakes after 7 ends. Paul, some days are like it.
Yeah, some days are just no fun to be out there, and you're looking for a spot on the ice to kind of, open up and take you away. These two have battled a lot through the years, and really they're quite equal. If you probably go through the last couple of years. So that was just a really, I don't want to call it an unlucky 5. They had a pick. There might have been 2 wrong calls in that end from Brown. But Grandy made the most of it. And Grandy, I watched her opening game. They looked a little dicey, but that could have been the ice. She looked in full control of everything today. So, and she would have learned from last year's Scotties when she debuted there.
Is there a chance
let's try again. Now we've got, are you there, Krista? I love this. Can you hear us, Krista? This is always tough. Be careful of moose. Can you hear us, Krista? Look, they still look just amazing. Congratulations, just in case you can hear us.
Well, I know.
You're still amazing.
Right. Haven't we all been there before, making our FaceTime calls to friends and family?
And can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah. I imagine, first off, it's hard to do this. It might be easier if she tries again with no video.
No video, I wonder. Yeah.
Listen,
we'll keep trying, but I'm wondering if we can get an update in the Alberta game. I'm thinking we must be towards the end of the ninth end here, which is exactly the case. And it looks like we're going to have the last rock perhaps coming from Skurlik. And it's a 5-3 lead as we watch this Alberta provincial final. I know Chelsea Carey's on the call there.
So is this a draw for 3?
The deeper
no, Sturmey has a hammer.
Sturmey has, okay, good. Okay, got it. Let me just
trying not to set up
got it.
Boy, there has been a lot happening today.
She has the opportunity to make it real tough for Sturmey to score.
This would be a massive victory for Skurlik to get into the Scotties with everything on the line for her and her team.
Yeah, no kidding. That's a nice looking draw.
The ice has looked spectacular. In fact, I would say, Call, in all the games I've watched today, which have been many.
It's been a real priority, I know, here in Nova Scotia, to make sure the event is in a proper place. We don't have it in an arena yet. That would be the next step. But to make sure the competitors get quality ice. So this year it was moved to the Halifax Curling Club. The ice was spectacular. The rocks were decent. People could make great shots. It's not always that way, but watching in all of these arenas, the swing they're getting and the advantage these teams get.
Yeah.
Like watching Krista's game today, that was amazing swing. Now you go to the Scotties, it's not, oh, what's with all this swing in the arena?
Exactly.
Whereas if you were playing in a curling club like Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, PEI, New Brunswick, probably Quebec as well, or did that look like an arena, didn't it? Where they were playing. I think Quebec had it in an arena. Makes a big difference getting to know that arena ice.
And just speaking about Quebec, we just saw a comment from one of the viewers that they're so happy to see St. George back in the Scotties. And we certainly know, it seems like yesterday, Cole, that they sort of burst onto the scene. This will be Lori's, I believe, 4th Scotties now.
That sounds about right, because she debuted during the COVID lockdown bubble Scotties.
Yep.
And she looked like Elsa from the, ice.
Well, that might have been in Moose Jaw. Was that in Moose Jaw, or was
okay? Maybe it was in Moose Jaw. I thought it was the Calgary bubble, but too much curling today. What a pressure draw that was.
So here we go. Sturmay gets the single in the 9th. Mission accomplished by Skurlik, who takes a 5-4 lead in Alberta. Coming home with everything on the line. Sturmay's playing with house money because she knows she's already going to the Scotties. But of course, this has massive ramifications. I believe. Here we go.
Third time a charm. Wow. You got us?
I'm back.
Nice. Nice. Congratulations.
Sorry, we lost service there for a little bit.
Of course. So you didn't hit a moose.
Well, I want to know.
We're in a few mountains.
I want to know. Well, you're on top of the mountain right now. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah, we're very much on top with our win and our husband's win.
I know. It wouldn't have been the same if they hadn't have won, right?
No, we'd be on a downer driving home, but this 11-hour drive is pretty good so far.
Where were you, by the way?
Really far from Thunder Bay.
Wow.
We were in Little Current, which is on Manitoulin Island, which is about an 11-hour drive from Thunder Bay.
Wow, that's far.
Is that the
And you know what is actually a funnier stat? So one of the other teams, they had a 17-hour drive and they still live in the same province. Yeah.
Crazy.
So
How did this one feel? How did it feel, especially with Andrea on board for you? You guys looked amazing today, by the way. What a win.
Oh, thank you.
Flawless.
Yeah, it's been really good. You know what? She fits into the team really well. She, you know what? Even our first spiel, I find Andrea is very similar to myself. She's very calm, cool on the ice. Even off the ice, I feel like we have a lot of similarities, which is kind of nice for me. But she fits very well into the team. We obviously, the four of us have been teammates for 8 years and very good friends for that amount of time as well, but she seems to fit in very well and it gels really good, so it's exciting.
If this is not the most relatable curling car with the packed chips like you and everything. Somebody's saying right now they bet Krista has to teach tomorrow morning. Is that the case, Krista?
No, yeah, you know what? Even if we talked about if we play the final at 9 a.m. bonus, we get home at midnight. If we play the final at 1:30, we get home at 4 or 5 in the morning. I'm going to school. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And the other two, yes, are going. Like you know what? I'm taking a lot of time off for the Scotties, so I'm going into work tomorrow no matter what.
Unbelievable. I love it. I love it.
But the best thing is I am going snowshoeing with my class. So, it's pretty awesome.
You planned that field trip.
I did, yeah.
What was the learning curve with Andrea, by the way? Because there were a couple of spiels where I think it was one of the Stu cells where it was, maybe topsy-turvy, but I know the competition's great, so.
Yeah, no, the competition's been really good. You know what, obviously coming on, first thing in September, we went to a spiel. We actually won the spiel. We went a day early to practice, which we've never done before, but I think that was key because we've never played with Andrea. So that was with her and just to kind of learn how.
We're going to stick with it. See if we
Yeah.
get back on top of that mountain call.
Yeah, the mountain is coming.
But how cool is this? I mean,
It's
this
very good. I love the Lay's chips that you can see in the background too, and the pillows. I cannot believe how far.
You know,
hanging on every word.
We are.
I think that's a wrap for the McCarville clan. But how great was that to get Krista on? And quite frankly, Cole, that's Krista McCarville right there. She's going to teach tomorrow morning. She's got a bag of Lay's chips beside her, and she's cool as a cucumber. I think that's how we all have come to know Krista McCarville over the years.
She certainly is a cool customer on the ice. I mean, she has delighted us for years with the way she could pull rabbits from the hat when you didn't think she could possibly come around through a port and draw to the button, and she does it regularly. And I think that Andrea brings as I mentioned earlier, that big weight capability. She throws so well, and she's got the soft stuff too. And like Krista, she's really hungry to win the Scotties as well. Hunger counts. Throw me some of the Lay's chips.
Can I just a little monologue, Colleen, for a second, because you and I have had so many conversations about the state of curling in our country over the years, and we're going to have Nolan Thiessen on later to talk about it. But you hear Krista McCarville talk about driving 11 hours to play in playdowns, and that other curlers were traveling 17 hours.
Which is insane. It's
kind of just a reminder, though, when we talk about this game and what it means to the people of our country and to the people of Northern Ontario.
Yeah.
People are still doing this.
Yeah.
We're still investing in this game. We're still driving 11 hours.
Yeah. And juggling a full-time job, which is, that makes it really, so commendable, really. Now, why it's 11 hours away from, I don't want to say civilization because I've never been there. I don't know why Northern Ontario would put it in such a remote location, to be frank.
Listen, I'm sure there were people there who were seeing curling for the first time in Manitoulin Island. So
right, but it's tough on the competitors to do that kind of driving and traveling. And so anyhow, I'm sure they had a lovely time, and it was a nice looking arena and things like that. So they definitely did a wonderful setup.
I think it's just a good reminder and some perspective where we've seen the professionalization of the game. We know the top 5 teams on the men's and women's side aren't driving 11 hours to play playdowns. And so just wanted to make that point because I think we lose sight of that sometimes. In the pursuit to be great in this sport, people are still out there like the McCarvilles of the world. So that's my monologue. Yeah.
I like the monologue. Yeah, it's well said. I still question why you would put it so far away. Like I think there's hubs that can handle it, and now Krista's got to be exhausted all week. Well, she's not complaining. I'm complaining.
Right, and
I have no right to complain.
We have Kerry Galusha waiting in the wings, and we can get some thoughts from her because I know her team has had to travel.
Oh, wow, what a schedule they have. No question. She's all over the place for curling.
So let's get to Kerry right now, who's headed to a 21st Scotties. Kerry Galusha.
Hi. Hello, how are you guys?
Hi, congratulations again, Kerry.
Thank you.
So nice.
Yeah, you guys brought me in right in the crucial part of the Alberta final.
Oh, well, let's cut away to it for a second, and so that
I'm like, are they actually going to bring me in now?
Oh yeah,
we're bringing you in right now.
We're going to watch it all together, Kerry, and talk with you because you've done it again, and I don't know how widely publicized it's been, but this is the last time you're going to the Scotties with this team, so I can't imagine the emotions. Walk us through that.
Yeah, I mean, nobody knows. I told a couple people in the media after we won, you were one of them, and a local reporter from here was another one of them. So, and I think I did an interview with someone from CBC here so it's not widely known. We've known since the beginning of the season, though. This isn't anything new. It just wasn't widely broadcasted. But yeah, this is the end of my competitive team, Galusha. Margot's going to move on, try to find a new team. Sarah's going to focus on her residency, being a doctor. Joanne's going to retire, and I'm probably going to semi-retire. I'll probably still maybe put together a team. You never know, maybe with my daughter, Sydney, or, it'll be a non-competitive team, though. We won't be traveling. We did 8 spiels this year, and that was a lot. So it won't be anything like that. So my friends are debating whether that's me actually retiring or not. So we'll see.
Wow.
We'll see what your definition of retiring is.
Right.
Yeah.
Does that make this Scotties even more special?
Yeah, with this team, I spend a lot of time with these girls, and we're really close off the ice, and we've just put in the work and for the last 4 years, and it's been really special. We did well at the Scotties the last few years, and it's gonna be sad, but it's also probably gonna be nice for me to take some time and use some annual leave to, go on a hot vacation or something. So we'll see.
I hear about those. I bet they're nice, eh? Palm trees and a warm beach.
Yes.
What about the rumor that Kevin's coaching you this year at the Scotties?
Yeah, it's not a rumor.
Okay.
He's coaching us. He's on our lineup. He was on our lineup for territorials. So Shona Barber has been our coach the last couple of years. So we had co-coaches this year with Shona and Kevin. And Shona really keeps us organized and keeps us on task and runs our practices. And then Kevin, we brought in just for extra strategy and some tactics that we felt like we needed some work on. So, I mean, you all know I used to have John Epping coach us, and he was so helpful when it came to strategy. And I think we were missing that the last couple of years. So we thought bringing on Kevin would be great. And he's been a really good asset to our team. I know people think he doesn't talk a lot, but he's been really good with us all year. We've learned a lot from him. And so we'll see what we can do in Calgary with him.
Yeah, he's having a great year too. Not a bad curler, I hear.
So if you just leave the Alberta game up, we'll continue to watch that, because I know Kerry's trying to split her attention. So we'll just leave it up. And Kerry, that was going to be my question to you about Kevin's demeanor as a coach, because of course people believe they know him because of his quiet demeanor. But what is he like as a coach?
Yeah, he's actually really chatty. He talks a lot, and I think it surprised my team a little bit. He worked with us when we were at the Tier 2 Slam last year, and we lost the semifinal to Team Grandy. So he worked with us for a few games there. So I think my team really liked that. And so they asked me to ask him to coach us in the off season. And I was like, oh, he won't. He's going to say no. I'm not going to ask him. But, my team nudged me a bit and said, hey, no, ask him. We want him. And so I did. And I texted him 5 minutes later. He said, yeah.
Nice.
And I was shocked. So
nice.
He's great. We've learned a lot from him. And I think I'm hoping it'll be a good week, and we'll still learn lots from him.
Well, he certainly is a genius. And you talk about how he's chatty. Every time I've interviewed him, he gives the most thoughtful, long answers. Where you're going, oh, and then you think it's over, and there's another sentence and another. So exactly. People are used to just that demeanor on the ice where he doesn't.
Yeah, the way he looks on the ice. I know he doesn't smile a lot. He looks kind of mean, whatever. Like, say what you will, but I mean, we all know that everyone gets talked about if we smile or not, or how we look.
Enough about Kevin. What do you think about this field at the Scotties?
The field is interesting. It's been usually our team has like the 2 pools kind of figured out before, or even when the playdowns are happening. I didn't even try this year. It's been really interesting with the wild cards being determined early, and then there's some new faces, which is always exciting. And then there's some old vets like Jennifer Jones and I. So I mean, maybe Heather Smith's a vet too. So it's I think it's a really interesting but good and different field. I mean, there's old and new there, so which I think is exciting.
Yeah. It'll
No
be
kidding.
good.
No
How many rocks are left here? Just 3?
Well, we're down to the final 3 stones here. Skurlik, of course, has a hammer, 5-4 in the Alberta final, needs to win to make it to the Scotties. Sturmey already has that CTRS points spot locked up. So this, Kerry, there's, Kate Cameron, Corinne Brown, they're watching this along with a lot of other people with great interest, of course.
Oh my God. I couldn't even imagine like Kate Cameron's team and Corinne Brown's team. I think Kate Cameron was done earlier than Brown today, but Kate Cameron's team must have, like, that Laws and Beth Peterson game was so close. That was an amazing game. I thought it was going to go an extra end. So, congrats to Cameron for taking that third wild card spot. And yeah, this is coming down to the wire for that 4th spot.
No kidding. Kerry, 21st Scotties. It's funny when you say semi-retire, because I think you told me that at maybe in St. Catharines in 2017. And so I'm laughing about semi-retire. I've had the retirement story ready for about 7 years, Kerry.
I know. Every time I go to the Scotties, the media is all over me. They want a story. They want to hear I'm retiring. And every year I'm kind of like, back then I was on the bubble for sure. I wasn't doing as well at the Scotties, so it was a bit of a struggle. So it was always like, oh, should I just quit? But then I just tried to form a really good team, and we've done so well. It was hard to quit. And so, but now that we know, okay, this is the end. It's kind of relief. There's no drama. We knew at the beginning of the year we were done. So now we can just go to the Scotties and enjoy it.
We were just talking to Krista McCarville, and she was on her way back from an 11-hour drive after winning the Scotties to get back to Thunder Bay. Give me an idea of the kilometers and some of the planes, trains, automobiles, and boats and skidoos that you've done through your time where you go.
Yeah, I mean, we've never had to drive that far. We just had playdowns in Hay River, and it was a 5-hour drive. We've also had to drive 8 hours. I think 8 hours is the longest to Fort Smith. But last year we went to Inuvik, and Inuvik pretty far north, and it was a $10,000 trip for us. So plus all our spiels that we did before that. So it was a very expensive year. This year we were lucky we could drive, but it's tough, and especially for us Northerners, like, we have to spend an extra day to travel to get to where we are.
Compelling. And that's a lot, yeah. Kerry, but this is very
I know, yes, we need to watch this.
Can we bring the volume up and can we watch this?
Can I get my popcorn?
Get your popcorn.
Tight, but reasonably tight. To the top one to make that double.
That's a voice we know, Chelsea Carey on the call.
Yeah.
And now they're going to use their time.
Shannon
Clyburn, come on down and have a discussion with the ladies.
No, it'll jam.
You have to hit this just
rock?
right, don't you?
Last rock.
Okay.
You think it'll
jam? Exciting.
Wow. What would you do, Kerry?
What is she gonna do? Is she gonna draw, or is she gonna?
Well, what would you do?
Well, I don't know, because Joanne's our last rock thrower, so I wouldn't have to worry.
Get a better look at the angles.
She would decide.
Oh, she's saying she doesn't mind the draw.
I mean, if you're committing to the draw and you're heavy, you lose.
Yeah.
I'm hitting.
One thing Kevin taught us this year, we lost to Hunkin in Edmonton, and we drew for against the loss, and we missed. So, and he told me, if you have a chance to hit,
if that works,
so that it's not against the loss. So.
Yeah. I would agree with that, but especially like this does look like
and
hit 3/4 of the rock hard.
I haven't really seen Kayla miss a lot of
it
draws.
might jam on the back. It does look from this angle.
I like.
And I mean, the button's open, so if she feels confident in her draw weight, then this is the shot.
Roll out, then you go to the.
Well, this is riveting. This is it.
It's all about confidence.
I can't watch. This is
shot to win. 2024 Sentinel Storage Alberta Scotties team. Skrlik.
Oh no,
it's hard to know if the sweeper's like that or not. One is well off of it.
Sweeping that, it's heavy.
Now she's doing that magic sweeping, trying to slow it down.
No.
Right.
Aren't touching it.
This looks heavy.
Oh. That's heartbreaking.
And it will be a steal of a win for Team Selena Sturmey, your new champion of the 2024 Sentinel Storage Alberta Scotties Tournament of Hearts. Wow, Chelsea, what a finish to that game. Team
Oh,
Sturmey steals their way to win.
That was wild.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
That's all we're
Look at
all
that
saying now.
reaction from
Wow,
the
wow,
ladies
wow.
hugging and happy. Well played, ladies. Well played. Oh my goodness. Congratulations, Team Sturmey. Oh my goodness.
You know, doesn't that capture just how much it means to win your
What an
province?
incredible turn of events here. That game had us on the edge of our seats the whole time.
Edge of our sheets, all right.
We're on the edge of our sheet too.
Wow.
Wow. You know what? I love
Great
watching
comeback
newbies
from
win.
Team
It's
Sturmey. Has that never
so
been a
fun
attitude? They
to
were
see
down.
them win. I know Desiree's been there before, but it's heartbreaking for Skrillex. You never want to see a miss. But
Yeah. I am surprised she didn't hit though, because it's
yeah, it's tough. If your skip wants to draw, you say, yeah, you got it, and you let them draw. It's, you know, it's all confidence.
And with that shot, about 11 hours, literally 11 consecutive hours of curling across our country comes to an end.
yeah.
So now the Scotties draw, the Scotties field is finalized. So Sturmey, of course, is going to be Team Alberta. That means Kate Cameron and I believe Corinne Brown is going to get that 4th spot. So the field
Yes.
is complete. Is that right, Kerry? Is that your math?
Yeah, I understand that as well from what I've seen. And yeah, I mean, they must have, it was heartbreaking for them this morning, and now they're probably celebrating. It's just like so many emotions today.
Right. Well, it shows how important the Scotties is to so many people too. That's why there'd be this wide range of emotions from, you know, the agony of defeat when you think you're done to now watching Skrillex throw one through the house and
That's
you're
tough.
alive.
And I mean, Brittany used to curl with us, and we got to know Team Skrillex this year a bit at one of our spiels. It was Margot's 30th birthday, and we had a fun night with them. So you got to feel for them.
Yeah.
It's always tough.
Wow.
And it looked like they dominated that game too. Like it looked like they were in
Yeah,
control.
that's the thing. They did control the
Close
game.
but it looked like they were in control. So that's tough.
So there it is, the completed Scotties field. Great work by producer Soph to fill it out. Kerry, take a look at that. Who do you like, Kerry?
Oh my gosh. I mean, like I said, there's the old vets and there's some newbies. I like it. I mean, Homan's going to be tough. Anderson, Jones, all the wildcard teams are going to be super tough. And there's a lot of tier 2 teams in there, which I love to see. And I don't know. It's going to be an exciting week. I'm excited.
It's a great looking field.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Kerry, thanks for going on that journey with us. That was
I have goosebumps watching that. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing your news here. Of course, it's going to be one last dance for your team, and it's going to be so exciting. And I know as we look at some of these photos, Canadians from coast to coast to coast have been riveted by you for so many years, and they can't wait to cheer for you one final time as Team Galusha.
Yeah, I'm excited, and yeah, it's bittersweet. It's sad, but yeah, I hope we have a good week.
Play well.
Thank you, and we'll see you there, Colleen.
Yes, see you there.
Have fun. Okay, thank you, Kerry. Great stuff. Call, there it is.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
That was tough to watch, that last shot.
I'm feeling like exhausted.
Well, it was even like Rachel couldn't keep it all straight. There was so much curling today. I love the idea of having a Super Sunday for this. You know, it would, or even yesterday when some wrapped up. It's nice to have that kind of a weekend.
And would you look at that? Nolan Thiessen is here. Perfect timing, because I'm sure, well, I hope he was able to watch that Alberta final. So, of course, Curling Canada's new CEO, Nolan Thiessen, we just watched that Alberta final. Did you see it, Nolan?
Yeah, actually, I was just getting home from my son's water polo, and I was getting messages from my ticket guy who was putting together the draw, and because he had a draw, I think, ready with Skrillex team, and then and so I just quickly went back on the YouTube feed and just watched it. So yeah, Not gonna lie, brings back some haunting memories of my own from some provincial finals past. So we've all been there.
Yeah, no kidding. Congratulations on the new job.
Thank you. Thank you.
What are your goals and everything? Crystal ball looking at the game and yeah, I know. Right off the bat, eh? Is that the Expos you've got on there?
Yeah, I got
Nice.
yeah, old school Expos hat. I mean, there's lots of things, right? Like it's everything from podium to grassroots, right? Like, I mean, everybody talks about, you know, how we haven't been on the top of the podium lately. I mean, I'm as competitive as anyone. I want to go out there and us to dominate. It's really hard now, right? So, but it's, you know, but then that being said, I want people to just play the game, right? Like I love this game. I love the community of it. I love, you know, what it means to be a curler. You know, I want to introduce it to people. You know, for me, it's hard because I'm also like somebody who likes to do things now. But you know, now I've got to sit back. It's more strategy, right? It's structures, it's resources, it's how, you know, I set up the team for success, right? So it's just interesting challenges, and you know, I'm just really excited for it. And I don't know, I've said to a few people, the responsibility is not lost on me. This role, obviously, as a curler, I take this pretty seriously.
Well, that's the thing. I don't remember the last time an actual curler's been in the job to know kind of what is happening at the grassroots, what is happening at curling clubs, and the provincial championships as numbers decrease. So how important is the fact, is it that you're a curler and you've come with all this extra knowledge?
Well, I mean, you don't have to be a curler to be the CEO. You also, it doesn't hurt that I am. You know, I think I've shown over the last number of years my willingness to learn what I don't know, right? Like I think when I first got off the ice and started working for Curling Canada, I wasn't going in saying, okay, I think you need to make all these changes and I know everything because, you know, I know how to sweep a draw to the button. You know, I think, you know, I learned the sport business, and that was sort of the most important thing. Obviously, it's everything that you have as your background, right? Like, so I've got the background as a curler, which is a benefit. I've got the background as a CPA. You know, but then I had to learn the business of sport. I had to learn the business of amateur sport. So that's what I was doing, because it's an intricate system that you have to wade your way through.
When we talk about setting Canadian curlers up for success, I think, Nolan, I don't know how much of a role you had in the predetermining some of the teams well in advance. I think we just heard from Rachel, and I'm hearing from a lot of curlers, they like it, and we're seeing success. So when you talk about tangible changes you can make to set up Canadian curlers for success, to take on the world and dominate, as you say, are there things that you say right now, tangible changes as a CEO of Curling Canada, you could change to better equip our curlers to go forth into the world?
Well, I mean, you know, that change was made through a lot of consultation, and we weighed a lot of factors, right? It's, you know, do you want to just leave it up to, you know, at the end of playdowns and just effectively ensure that you have the top teams there, right? Because if a team doesn't win playdowns, then they're going to be there. You know, we balanced out the idea of, you know, if there's a little bit less time on the ice, they don't have to ramp up for another competition. You know, those teams have the ability to train. You know, we just balanced all the factors out, and we just said, I think this is the best way to do it for right now, right? So we said, okay, for the next 3 years, this is how we'll do it. And then we'll revisit it, right? See if it's working or not. You know, I think the other thing is, for me, it's, you know, success isn't just, you know, residency or number of teams in the playdowns. Success is the daily training environment. Success is athletes that are putting in the hard work, and then when nobody's watching, and then they show up on the big stage, right? So for me, I got to give the high performance team, you know, I got to find a way to give them the resources that they need so that they can help the teams to get better. And, you know, to Colleen's point about people that are in playdowns, we have to look at the U18s and the U21s and the U25s, and how do we get that funnel as wide as possible, right? How do we get the most amount of athletes there? So, when they're in their late 20s or 30s, when it's kind of your peak time as a curler, that there's lots of options. So, I mean, there's a lot there.
Yeah.
And even when you look at high performance, I mean, is that a small part of the overall equation? Like, I'm getting more alarmed at smaller numbers at curling clubs, some curling clubs dying off. And it seems like fewer people entering playdowns. I don't want to focus on, I think I'm more concerned about grassroots really at this
Yeah.
Juncture. Is there an equation of where you balance the success of the 60 people in a high performance versus the former thousands of curlers at the grassroots? Or
you have to look after both. Oh, there you go. We got a winner.
Catlin Schneider in BC. Of course, I know him from his days in Saskatchewan, but there he is in BC winning with that double right there. Go ahead, Nolan.
Oh, yeah. Colleen, it's funny. There is, there are lots of clubs that are in trouble. There are lots of clubs that are doing well too. We have to tell our story better too. The sport isn't dead and dying. There's areas that we need to look at and say, I've had these theoretical conversations with people because it's really hard to have them. But I said, if you took two struggling clubs and you made one thriving club, are we better as a sport? Probably. Is that a really hard decision to do? Absolutely. I think for us, you can't sacrifice one for the other. I mean, like the high performance side is also our biggest marketing tool, right? People that want to be Brad Gushu and people that want to be Rachel Homan, and that drives people to try the sport. Right. So we can't sacrifice one without the other. That's the great thing about our sport in this country is we have both, and we have to look after both of them. I think for me and for the staff at Curling Canada, it's how do we get as much alignment as possible with the member associations so that we're really driving down programs that really make an impact at the club level and start to add that membership. And then, it's not easy. It's not overnight, right? It's not like all of a sudden every single curling club in Canada is going to be full. It's going to take time.
Provincial playdown spectators, it looked like a lot of the places were packed. So that was wonderful to see. I don't know if that's going to translate to the big shows. You've worked hard on that, Nolan. So I'll ask about getting bums and seats in Calgary and in the heartland of curling, Regina, where will be in March. So
that should be amazing.
I can't wait. So how do we get people to pack like we remember it?
Yeah, well, Calgary is exceeding our expectations at the moment. We're already selling standing room tickets for the final.
Nice.
I think the event's going to be it's going to be fairly full. We're really looking forward to that one. The curlers that were there during the bubble, I said, you're not going to be playing in front of cutouts this time. Everybody get excited. You're not going to hear me talking on my cell phone up in the corner of the building, right? I remember getting a message from one of the coaches that was like, I can hear every word you're saying. I was like, oh, sorry. But no, Calgary's going to be really good. For me, I really started looking at what are we selling, right? What are we selling to the people? We sometimes fall in this with curling where we're plucky underdogs and it's a niche sport and it's a little tongue in cheek. You know what? The Brier and the Scotties, like I said, I remember when I won it, I said, I've wanted to win this thing since I was 10 years old. Like, this is a big deal to me, right? And that's what we're selling to people. There's a bunch of athletes going there they're living their dream for 10 days. And so some of it is marketing. Some of it is, our talent. If we get more talent, I think there's even more fans will show up. So there's a lot of factors. I don't think they're dying off. If you look at our events too, we really look at sort of the whole picture. Like everyone says, you're not in NHL buildings. And I said, have you have you looked at how much it costs to rent an NHL building for a day? Curling Canada, we have a fiscal responsibility that we have to these events are meant to support the whole system, as well as determine Canadian champions. So it's the whole business plan of it. But I think I'm really looking forward to Calgary and Regina. I think they're going to be really, really strong events. London last year was great.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ottawa obviously was, with the run Brad went on, that was quite the building too. So there's a lot to it. But from my vantage point, it's a lot the business plan of it as much as it's bums and seats.
You've had your finger on the pulse of these events in a big way. I mean, you're everywhere and at those events. So how hard is it for you to step back from that part, maybe wear a suit and go to meetings?
Well, I was actually saying it. I was kind of laughing today because I'm historically been the person who makes the draw. So I'm all over watching every single play down, who's in, how they're going to fall in the rankings, start playing around with draws. That's the math side of my brain is going. I found it hard to hand that over today. I was overseeing it, but yeah, for me, because I just got the job, it's not like I'm just completely walking away. Like, you're still going to see me around the Brier and the Scotties quite a bit, supporting the team that's there. We've got a really good team of people, event managers, ticket people, but I'll be there to kind of support them. I think there's some hiring and promotions and different things that we got to do to kind of ramp up for next year. But for this year, it'll be a lot of just supporting the people and still being around.
Next year's going to be huge. These Scotties and Briers and then the Worlds go to Olympic qualifying points already.
Yeah.
So we're in the thick of it right now. Nolan, on behalf of the American curling fans, I told them I would ask you, do we have any clarity on the Scotties?
Not yet. I mean, we hear it too. We see all the messages, right? And it's cool to see the, what these events mean to just the sport of curling, right? Not just curling. Obviously, they're a huge piece of Canadiana, but we hear about it too. It's not as simple as us just saying, "Oh, well, we can just do it." We have to work with our broadcast partner because they're doing everything on site. So, I mean, we're hoping to find a solution for sure, but nothing that I can report yet. Sorry.
I'll keep asking. So don't.
That's fair. You're totally allowed to. Absolutely. Yeah.
When do we get the draws for the Scotties and the Brier?
Not his job.
Yeah, well, I do know though. I know when it comes out. The Scotties draw, I think, will be dropping late tomorrow afternoon, and then the Brier one will be 2 weeks later, right after all the playdowns are done in the men's.
Nice.
That's comprehensive. Call anything else?
Just congratulations. I know the
Thank
selection of you really resonated with a lot of curlers across the country. So they've got high expectations, no pressure, high expectations for you, Nolan.
I mean, you know what it's like when you're on the ice. You have high expectations. I mean, I hold myself to a pretty high standard. So I don't want to let everybody down. So I'll just try to work my butt off and see what I can do. So.
There's no doubt about that. And to Colleen's point, when you hire these higher up jobs, you don't often have consensus on how people feel about a hiring. But Nolan, I think there was a lot of consensus on that day when people learned that you were going to be in that position. Yeah. It speaks to the person you are and how much you care. So congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you, much appreciated.
Yeah, and thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll see you both
in the Scotties.
Yeah, we'll see you both in Calgary, I'm sure.
You bet.
Okay, appreciate you both.
Thank you. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Did we come in on time for the show?
No, we're over an hour. And we've seen, I don't even know what live games. Well, we saw Alberta, of course, and Sturmey winning Alberta and Caitlin Schneider winning the men's title out of BC. So, and a shout out to Montgomery, who, of course, scrapped and clawed his way all the way to the championship when it looked like he was done in one of the games. An unbelievable shot there. We have been treated over these last few days to some incredible curling. Call when we talked about what these shows were going to be like. I think we somewhat imagined this chaotic frenzy, And it
Yeah.
really played up to the billing, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I mean, and the games, honestly, the games were so incredible. I mean, they were all quite fun to watch. So it just, you know, we always have the discussion about the status of curling in Canada, but you watch what we just watched today and yesterday and last weekend, and you go, it's perfectly fine.
Right.
There's a lot of talent in this country. We often talk just about the top, you know, the top three over and over again in both the men's and the women's. And you go, there's a few other teams there that, again, if they who have done the work, and maybe will surprise.
Great point. Some of those university teams as well, some new names in Saskatchewan, a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
Skier. So we're seeing that turnover, and it's exciting times ahead. I think that's a wrap call.
That's a wrap.
Scotties.
That's a wrap.
We're not going to be talking here with all of you until the Scotties. So curling fans, take care. And Colleen,
Yes.
good luck, coach.
Well, we'll be. Call me tomorrow. But yeah, thank you. Looking forward to it.
I'm calling you after the show. But yes, good luck to you. Good luck to all the teams at the Scotties. We'll know the Briarfield soon. And to all of you curling fans, we do this for you. It's been a fantastic weekend and more to come.
See you later. Thanks, Producer Soap.
Thanks, Soap.
Curling now enters the Sports Weekend Spotlight.
1963, when they took the Briar to Brandon.
Hi, everybody. I'm Don Whitman with Don Duguid, two-time world champion.
Reveille will take the game.
Not a question about it. Right on the nose. It never wavered.
A little bit of curling history for you.
High drama, high intensity.